Episode 5, Secrets of the Past. Rylan's heart thudded in his chest as he stepped into Lucian's world. The air felt different here, charged with an energy he couldn't explain. The sleek, modern mansion was a far cry from his small apartment, yet it felt oddly familiar. Each corner of the grand estate seemed to pulse with history, and Rylan couldn't shake the feeling that he had walked into a place meant for him, even if he didn't fully understand why. Lucian led him down a wide corridor, the walls adorned with portraits of figures Rylan didn't recognize. There was a quiet elegance to the place, as if time stood still here. The mansion had an ancient, almost regal air, with rich tapestries hanging and marble floors that glowed softly under the light of the chandeliers. Rylan felt out of place, his ordinary clothes making him feel even more alien in this world of royalty and power. Lucian turned to him, his gaze soft but serious. "I know this is a lot to take in, Rylan," he said, his voice like silk. "But there are things you need to understand. Things that have been hidden from you." Rylan nodded, trying to steady his breathing. He hadn't realized until now how much he'd been holding onto. The weight of everything, the truth of his heritage, was beginning to sink in. "What do you mean by hidden?" Rylan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lucian led him to a door at the end of the hall. It was a heavy, ornate thing, carved with intricate designs that Rylan could barely make out in the dim light. Lucian pushed it open without hesitation, and they stepped into a room unlike anything Rylan had ever seen. It was a library, but not just any library. This one was ancient, filled with shelves that reached to the ceiling, laden with dusty old books and scrolls. The air smelled like old parchment and leather, and the low hum of magic seemed to echo through the room. In the center stood a large stone pedestal, engraved with symbols that Rylan didn't understand but instinctively felt were important. "This," Lucian began, his voice low, "is where your journey truly begins." Rylan's eyes widened. "What is all this?" "These are the records of your family's history," Lucian explained. "Not just any family. You are a descendant of an ancient bloodline, one that has long been forgotten by most. Your lineage connects you to a power that has shaped the world in ways you can't even begin to comprehend." Rylan's mind raced, but he didn't speak. The room seemed to close in around him as the weight of Lucian's words sank in. Lucian walked over to the pedestal and motioned for Rylan to follow. As he approached, Lucian reached out and touched a glowing symbol on the stone. There was a sudden pulse of energy, and the entire room seemed to shift. A book appeared on the pedestal, its cover bound in dark leather and etched with the same symbols that adorned the walls. Lucian opened it carefully, revealing pages filled with writings in a language Rylan couldn't read, but as his eyes scanned the pages, something inside him stirred, like he could almost understand the meaning, like the words were meant for him. "This is the Book of the Forgotten," Lucian said, turning a page gently. "It chronicles the rise of your ancestors and the powers they wielded. Powers that you are meant to inherit. Powers that have been dormant for centuries." Rylan looked at the book, then back at Lucian. "But why me? I'm just a regular guy. I don't know anything about this." Lucian gave him a small, almost sad smile. "I wish I could tell you there was a simple answer, Rylan. But the truth is, your destiny was set long before you were born. You were chosen because of the power that lies within you. The bloodline you carry has always been linked to the balance of the world. There's a reason you felt different all these years." Rylan felt a shiver run down his spine. "But why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't I know?" Lucian closed the book with a soft thud, his eyes darkening. Because there are forces at work that would do anything to stop you from realizing your potential. They've kept you hidden, safe, all these years. But now, it's time for you to understand what you are meant to do. Rylan stared at the book again, his heart pounding in his chest. He couldn't deny it anymore. This wasn't some dream or fantasy. This was real. And as much as he wanted to run from it, he knew there was no turning back. "You're saying I have some kind of power?" he asked, his voice shaking. "What kind of power?" Lucian stepped closer, his eyes intent on Rylan's face. "You're a natural-born sorcerer, Rylan. Your blood is connected to the oldest magic in the world. You have the ability to control elements, manipulate energy, even shape reality in ways that most can't even imagine. But that power must be mastered. And that's where I come in." Rylan's breath caught in his throat. Sorcerer, the idea was impossible, yet the feeling inside him, this deep, unsettling truth, began to align with Lucian's words. Lucian placed a hand on Rylan's shoulder, his touch warm but firm. "I know this is overwhelming, but you need to trust me. I'll help you learn how to harness your powers, but you have to be willing to face the truth. Your power is not just a gift, it's a responsibility. You will have to fight for what you believe in. You'll have to fight for the future." Rylan swallowed hard, looking down at the book that had appeared out of nowhere. It seemed to call to him, like an extension of himself. His heart raced, but he felt a surge of determination deep within. Maybe he didn't have all the answers. Maybe he didn't understand everything yet. But one thing was certain, he wasn't alone. "I'm ready," Rylan said, his voice steadier than he felt. "I'm ready to learn." Lucian nodded, his expression filled with pride. "Good. We start tomorrow. The first lesson is always the hardest. But you're stronger than you think." As Rylan looked at Lucian, something inside him clicked into place. Maybe, just maybe, this was the life he was meant to lead. And maybe, just maybe, Lucian was the person he was meant to face it with. The following day, Rylan found himself standing in the center of a vast training room, the stone walls looming around him like silent sentinels. The room was dimly lit, but there was a flicker of something, an energy that pulsed in the air, an energy he couldn't see but could feel deep in his bones. It was as if the very space around him was alive, waiting for him to take the first step. Lucian stood across from him, his usual calm demeanor replaced with a quiet intensity. The prince was dressed differently today, a black tunic that emphasized his regal presence, his dark eyes gleaming with purpose. His aura felt heavier, stronger than before. Rylan had never seen him like this, and it sent a chill down his spine. "This is your first lesson," Lucian said, his voice steady but firm. "We will begin with control. Your powers are raw, unrefined, and if left unchecked, they could be dangerous. The goal here is not to overwhelm you, but to give you a sense of what's inside you." Rylan nodded, trying to ignore the flutter of anxiety in his chest. Yesterday, Lucian had explained his heritage and the powers he was meant to wield. But today, Rylan had no idea what to expect. Lucian raised a hand, and the air around them seemed to hum with energy. Rylan's breath caught as he felt the temperature in the room shift, the air growing thick and heavy. "Focus," Lucian instructed, his eyes never leaving Rylan's face. "Close your eyes and try to feel the energy around you. Let it flow through you, but don't force it. Let it find you." Rylan hesitated for a moment before closing his eyes, his heart beating faster. He stood still, trying to steady his breathing as Lucian's voice guided him. For a long moment, nothing happened. The silence pressed in, making Rylan second-guess himself. He felt foolish, like he was playing pretend. But then, something changed. It was subtle at first, a soft whisper at the edges of his consciousness. A warm current, like the first rays of the sun after a storm, started to stir inside him. It was a deep, primal feeling, and it made his pulse race. "There you go," Lucian's voice broke through the silence, low and encouraging. "Feel it? The magic inside you. It's part of you." Rylan's fingers twitched, and suddenly, he could feel it more clearly, the power swirling in his chest, spreading through his limbs like wildfire. It was warm, almost overwhelming, but at the same time, it felt like home. His heart was in sync with it, as if he had always known how to use it, and yet, his mind was lagging behind, unable to comprehend the full scope of what was happening. "Good," Lucian praised, his voice softer now. "Now, try to focus it. Imagine the energy gathering in your hands. Shape it." Rylan's mind raced. Shape it, he didn't even know what he was supposed to do. But the warmth in his chest was growing, and instinctively, his hands rose in front of him, palms facing each other. He focused hard, imagining the energy pooling in his hands, gathering, shaping into something tangible. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a small spark flickered between his palms. Rylan gasped in surprise, and Lucian's smile grew. "That's it," Lucian said, his voice filled with pride. "You're beginning to understand." But just as quickly as the spark had appeared, it fizzled out. Rylan opened his eyes, confused and frustrated. "It's not enough. I couldn't." "It's a start," Lucian interrupted, stepping closer. "Don't be discouraged. It's not about doing it perfectly right away. It's about learning to feel the magic, to trust it. You have it, Rylan. You just need to believe that you can control it." Rylan swallowed hard, still unsure. He wanted to believe Lucian, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was failing, that he wasn't cut out for this. After all, he was just a regular guy. "Or was he? You have more in you than you realize," Lucian said, his gaze unwavering. "Let go of your doubts. Let go of the fear. Trust in yourself, and in the magic." Rylan nodded slowly, his breath calming as he focused on the warm energy inside him. He closed his eyes again, trying to block out the world around him. His thoughts cleared, and for the first time, he felt truly centered. He imagined the energy in his hands once more, focusing all his thoughts on shaping it, on making it real. And this time, it didn't flicker. The energy swirled between his palms, growing stronger, brighter, until a small orb of light hovered there, glowing faintly in the dim room. Rylan's eyes flew open in shock. The orb was small, no bigger than a marble, but it was real. Lucian's smile widened. "That's it, Rylan. That's the first step." Rylan's heart pounded with excitement and disbelief. He had done it. He had created something real from nothing. "But remember," Lucian continued, his voice serious again. "This is just the beginning. Control is the first challenge. The next step is learning how to use it in ways that will protect you and those you care about." Rylan felt a sudden surge of determination. He had always felt out of place in his old life, unsure of his purpose. But now, standing in this strange world with Lucian by his side, he could feel it. There was something more to him, something that was ready to awaken. I'm ready for whatever comes next, Rylan said, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside him. Lucian's gaze softened, and he nodded. Good. You have a long way to go, Rylan. But you're stronger than you think. As Rylan stood there, still holding the orb of light in his hands, he realized one thing: he was no longer the person he had been. The journey ahead would be difficult, but for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose. The weight of his heritage, of the magic that flowed through him, no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a gift. And he was ready to embrace it.